Hey everyone, welcome back to Beauty School Bobbi. Today I'm so excited to have a very special guest with us today. So somebody that's a little bit different but still in the beauty industry. This is Abby Hamm. For those of you who are watching from Knoxville, you know Abby from WBIR. So she's the one that is giving you your news when you are waking up in the morning. But Abby also has a really strong connection to the beauty industry. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about that today. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Normally I'm used to sitting in that chair and doing interviews, and today we flipped a little bit.
It's so weird. I've
interviewed you before on the show, haven't I?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think it's really weird because I was like, I don't get nervous anymore. Like I'm kind of like whatever, but I'm like, you're such a pro. Like I've got to kind of like up my game a little today.
No, I'm not a pro. I just wing it. You know, it's just having a conversation. It's easy.
People don't understand that on the news, like how much it's just kind of on the fly. Like if you go in, like I remember when I came on for the first time, being like, they gave you something right away, like, and you were like, yep, got it, like whatever, like no practice. I was like, how do you do this? Like it is on the fly sometimes. It's not as like scripted as people think it is.
Yeah. I mean, the news stories that we read are clearly well produced and scripted, so we don't get facts wrong.
Right. Yes.
But a lot of it is ad lib, especially you've been on in our more feature hours, and those are, I mean, our interviews were all ad lib.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't like prep. It was like, hey, this is happening right now, and you just got it.
Yeah.
Like, you're amazing.
Well, you're sweet. I don't know about that. I do have fun. I'm a genuinely curious person by nature. And so I have fun getting to know people. And when I meet somebody new, I always ask them a million questions because I'm like, I want to know what your story is. That's like off air, not even as a journalist.
Yes.
So I think just being a naturally curious person makes you, I don't know, easy.
For sure.
Yeah, it makes it a good fit.
It does, definitely. So you have been on the air for 16 years with WBIR. So we were just talking about timeline a little bit. So how long have you been officially like a news anchor?
Almost 20 years.
That's so crazy.
19 years this year, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah. And you went to school in Arizona, so went to college, for journalism, broadcasting.
I actually went for print journalism, which is like,
really?
Everybody thinks, I think even my husband thinks I went for, broadcast journalism because Arizona State has such a good broadcast school. It's the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. I went to University of Arizona, that is not ASU, and I majored in print journalism. I wanted to write for fashion magazines.
Oh my gosh. So that was dream. That was the goal.
That was the goal.
Yeah.
And so when I graduated, when I was in my last year of college, I got an internship with a local TV station in Tucson, KVOA. And it was like this, oh, wow, this is so cool. I loved the visual aspect of it. I loved just the whole idea of being a news anchor or a news journalist on TV was something that was enticing to me. So I threw together a resume tape and started sending them out, and I got hired in West Virginia, Parkersburg, West Virginia. Was my first job.
Awesome. Yeah. And then landed here. And this is just, the second I moved here, the first night I remember like waking up in the morning. So we moved here the night that Lane Kiffin left. So we literally moved here, woke up the next day, and chaos ensued. And we were like, so we weren't like huge college football fans. So we had no idea what was going on other than this city was like on fire.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. So I remember like turning on the news and like watching, like you're just such a part of Knoxville.
Oh, you're sweet.
I feel like we were talking earlier just about how people recognize you and know you here. I think you're just such a Knoxville staple. I think it's really cool.
Thanks. I'm like the sun sphere.
Yes, the sun sphere and Abby Hamm.
I like gold.
Yes. So I know that we were talking a little bit about how you, have always been drawn to makeup.
Yeah.
So for you to be in front of the camera all the time, like that's something that you've had to master. And so I know a lot of people think that you just get to wake up in the morning and show up and you get your hair and makeup done, but that's not the case. Walk me through what a morning is like for you.
It's the number one question I get, aside from what color's my lipstick, is what time do I get up in the morning?
Yes.
So we wake up like in the wee hours of the mornings, so 3:00 or before, to get ready for the day. So you kind of you shower the night before. You have it all down to like a very tight system because there's no moment to spare in the morning.
Right.
So I get up, wash my face, brush my teeth, throw my clothes on, grab my makeup bag, and I'm out the door. Make my coffee too.
Yeah.
I have to have coffee. If I didn't have coffee. And then I get to work and I do my makeup at the station. So, but you also get really used to like doing it super quick, throwing your hair, in flat iron, curl it, and then you're on set. I mean, there's no moment to spare. So I think I've really mastered a very fast, very efficient beauty routine.
Yes. So I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
So how long do you think it takes you? Are you like 15 minutes full face? Because also being on camera, you have to go a little heavier. There's certain tricks that you have to hit. It's not like just normal, I'm going to go pick up my kids.
Yeah.
Like this is like full face. So how long do you think that takes you?
To do my face, probably 20 minutes, maybe 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And then to do my hair, just like 5.
I mean, that's so fast.
Yeah, it's fast. And I'm not like, I do contouring and I do brows and I do, some highlighter. I do all the stuff. It's not like I skimp on what I'm doing. I just do it quickly.
Yeah. So are you in the room with anyone else? Like, do you guys have like your girl time where you get to like, you're all getting ready together? Because I feel like that would be the most fun.
Yes, it is. So my co-anchor is female and Heather and I are great friends. And so like this morning we were getting ready together and we were, musing about the weekend and talking about the news headlines that we were going to talk about for the day and what's happening in Ukraine, which is hard right now. So we're just getting ready. It is girlfriend time, but it's also like, we got to get our stuff done and get out on set, and then we can talk during commercial breaks.
How many nightmares do you have about missing your
Yeah,
alarm?
a lot. Those are or being on air without being ready. I think that's another, those work dreams that you have. It's being late or it's being on air without any makeup on.
Yeah.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Has there ever been a day that you've gone on and been like, seen yourself after and been like, I really messed up my makeup this day, or I really wish I would have done something different? Or are you just kind of like, it is what it is, I don't watch it, it happened, and like move on?
Well, if I have it, not my makeup's fine. My hair does some crazy things. Like we cannot control our hair sometimes.
Yes.
It's like, it's just going to do what it wants.
Yes.
Like today, for instance, I had this little piece, you can probably see, it's like in my widow's peak, and it kept flopping over to the other side and sticking up, and I'm like, and I don't use I don't use hairspray, I don't use any kind of, I need to get some hairspray. Okay.
Yeah.
My hair guy's going to be really mad at me to hear that. But I just don't put a lot of product in my hair. So there's nothing that I can do to like make it better.
Yeah.
So if my hair's bad, I just try not to look in the monitor when I'm on and just ignore it.
Just not going to see
Whatever.
It. Well, if you have like a lot of boys around, or usually, I mean, typically, not always, but production crew is more male. And so they're not going to like pick up on it so much. Like I've made my husband, I've been like, listen, like you need to watch for this, and this is what you need to look for. Like we've stopped before, and like my husband will be like waving, and he'll like, we've stopped, I think when we were recording in Nashville, and he's like came over and I'm like, see, that's what you need. You have to have somebody that's going to have your back.
You absolutely do. That's why it's good to have a female co-anchor.
Exactly.
Because she's like, what are you doing?
Yes.
You look weird today. You got to fix that.
No, I know in Knoxville you go to Grow, and so that's the salon that you go to. Do they prep you specifically for on-camera hair, or are you still getting to go in as like a normal woman and be like, hey, this is what I like right now? Or does like viewer, not opinion, but does camera stuff come into play for you?
Viewer opinions? They don't have any opinion.
No one messages you at all, I'm sure, every day.
Never. If you probably do, the message request box, mine is pretty
I'm sure.
lengthy.
Yeah. People really want to have an opinion on how, well, especially female anchors, how female anchors look.
Well, I think so. People are, I will say, they are so sweet in this town. And I've worked in other markets where people have not been really nice. When I worked in Cleveland, the viewers were definitely harder on me than the viewers down here. But I also think when you work in a market for so long, people know you so well, they feel like you're their friend.
Yeah.
And so I just think it makes people less cruel and less critical.
Yeah, definitely.
But they do have opinions. I get, people miss my blonde hair. I get that a lot. That's probably, if somebody is saying something, it's usually in a positive way. It's very nice. Like, I like your hair, but I loved it blonde, or they're sweet about it. But and as I said to you, it's going to probably not happen for me to go back to blonde, because it's just so much healthier to have your natural color. Yeah. And it's made such a difference in my... You
don't have like a boss that's like, you have to look like this. Like that's not a thing, right? Yeah. That's awesome.
And they've embraced me. I just posted a picture on my Instagram page that showed me through the years, because I've been just on March 3rd, I think, was my 16-year anniversary, or March 2nd. And I showed hairstyles throughout the year. I mean, I have had all different colors, all different styles. I had the like dramatic swoosh and like the angled cut for a while. And I've had terrible eyebrows. I mean, like I just look back over the years and I'm like, oh, it's like cringeworthy, So it's funny to have that record of all the styles and the makeup and all the stuff that you've done over the years.
Yes, I know. And we have that there to now look back on it. Like comes up every day and I'm like, oh,
I know.
Never again.
That hurts. That one is not a good one.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you at least still get to have your freedom and to try out new trends. I mean, I think that you've like somewhat aged backwards. Like I feel like you
You're
look
sweet.
so young now.
Thank you.
Not that you looked older before, but I think that this look is definitely, you know, making you younger, which
Thanks.
is crazy because now you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
So you are a mom on top of everything else that you're doing. I know that and I want to get into this a little bit in a second, but I know you do a lot in the community that isn't just like being on air and being, you know, that person in the morning for everybody. I think, you know, you do a lot to give back too. So let's talk about momming for a second with this job. So how
So
are
easy.
You? Yeah. So you've got 2 sons, so 8 and 11.
Yeah, 11, 7. I always say he's 8 because
Yeah.
this
Almost.
mom
We can
brain.
round up.
Mom brain. 11, 7, and then I have a little girl who's 1.5.
Yeah. So how has that transition been for you, kind of like starting over?
It's been hard.
How's that going?
Yeah, so, you know, the boys can basically take care of themselves now. I mean,
Yeah.
they can make their own lunches, they can make their own dinners. We're at that golden spot, you know,
It's amazing.
and then we decide to throw a baby into the mix. So,
Yes.
you know, my boys are amazing. I mean, they are so helpful. They're so sweet to their sister.
Aw.
They're the best boys. I'm a little biased,
That's awesome.
but they're the best boys. So I'm really lucky to have boys like them. So they're really helpful in like I can say, Owen, you know, he's 11. Owen, watch Robbie. I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going
Yeah.
to go make dinner or whatever. And he's on it. Like he doesn't
Yes.
miss a beat.
That's awesome.
And he's more concerned about her safety and well-being sometimes than I am because he's more paranoid. You know, I'm like, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
3rd kid.
Yeah.
She'll be fine. And he's like,
Exactly.
Mom, you know, it's funny.
Yeah.
And so they're super helpful. But, you know, it's weird going back to the point and now that she's mobile,
Yeah.
but not able to really understand what you're saying, so it's danger baby phase is what I call it,
Yeah.
where she's just like, I'm gonna go anywhere and I'm gonna touch
As fast as she
everything,
can, to
no
the
matter
most dangerous
what.
thing,
Yeah,
yes.
no boundaries, this little one. And so it's a weird thing to go back to, but it's been amazing. Like it's so fun to have a little girl. You know, I'm such a girly girl.
Yes.
I always thought I'd be the mom of girls. Okay.
Yeah.
So then when the boys came, I was like, oh no, I'm meant to be a boy mom. Like I
Yeah.
love sports and I love, you know, all their guys stuff. I think it's so fun. So I think I'm good, you know. And then when we had her, it's like, oh, like my heart opened up just a little bit more. And it's
Yeah.
just fun to be girly with somebody.
There is something different about a girl. I think that like not only is there like a different relationship, I feel like we cannot leave each other. Like we're just I'm not as connected with my son, but I just think she craves that more, where he was a little more like, okay, I'm gonna go do my own thing, I'm gonna go play or whatever. Like
Yeah.
she's just like attached, and I love that. So I think
Sweet.
there is something so fun. And like I don't know if you've done this yet, but I'm already like, when can we book spa days? Like when can we go do all these things together? Because I'm like, even just the little times that we'll get to like go shopping, I'm like, this is just like forecasting a little bit, I think, of like what our relationship will be like, hopefully. Is that
Girl
we get
time.
Yeah, it's just best friend.
You know, my mom is like that with me. So my mom and dad and brother and sister-in-law, they all live here.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, we've all migrated here over the years. But
Yeah.
my parents, I'm so close with both of them, but my mom and I have such a special relationship. And so I always wanted that. You know, my
Yeah.
mom is like so cool and so accepting. She's not critical. You know, she's let me make my mistakes. Like I hope that I'm just like a quarter of the mom that she
Yeah.
is. So I think having that relationship to look to and then knowing that I'm going to have a daughter that hopefully I'll share the same relationship with is really cool.
It's so special. Were you always this close with your mom, or do you think it changed like after you had kids? Did you guys get closer after, or have you always
I mean,
been
we
this close?
had our I had my
Like teenage
It
years,
was
yeah.
I shouldn't say we had. I had my horrible teenage
Right.
moments.
Yes.
My mom was amazing through it all. No, we have always been close. Like she's just always been like my very best friend. I mean,
awesome.
if somebody who knows literally everything about you and still loves you, like God bless them.
Yeah. No, it's rare. Is she super close to your daughter? Is your daughter obsessed with her?
They call her Doodah. My kids call her Doodah because she always sang that song.
Yeah.
Oh, Doodah Day, when they were growing up. And so she calls her Doodah, and it's one of 10 words that she can say. I mean, I say 10 is probably not 10. I mean, like I can understand what she's saying, but like with
Right.
the rest of the world, no.
Yeah.
So she'll be in the back seat going Doodah.
Oh, that's so
She loves
sweet.
my mama. She
That's-
also loves my mother-in-law.
Yeah, that's like one of the most special things I think about having kids is seeing that relationship. If, you know, having grandparents and like just seeing that is so amazing, and like that help. Like, so how much of your crazy schedule, how much is it mom? Do you have babysitters? Like who is helping you navigate all of this?
Juggle.
Yes.
Like throw them in the air and hopefully they fall somewhere. So my husband is from here.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Halls High School, and we met. He was in Atlanta, and we started dating long distance, and then he
Yeah.
ended up moving back here. We got married and had Robbie. So
Yeah.
I had my first husband, I had the boys, and then we got divorced, and then I remarried. Anyway, so his family's here too. So my in-laws are amazing. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, they live in Halls. My 2 sisters-in-law, also incredible. I mean, like, I'm so fortunate to have all the help. Like, my mother-in-law watches Robbie on Fridays, and this Friday she's going out of town, so my sister-in-law Tori's going to come and watch Robbie.
Amazing.
Like, it's amazing, just the support. And my mom's more the person they'll go spend the night with, or she'll have him more at night because she still works a lot. But Robbie's in just a little preschool.
Yeah, I know with your schedule, it's got to be challenging to get all of that covered. Like, who can have someone come over at 3 a.m. to babysit or whatever?
Well, when I was a single mom, that was really hard.
Yeah.
I had a babysitter come to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she was with me. Sharon, God bless her, was with us for 8 or 9 years watching my boys.
Wow.
So she was like invested.
Yes.
She was helping
That's
me.
like a family member also. Like at that point, yeah.
So when I said to her, you're going to have to start coming to my house at 3 in the morning, she wasn't like, no way. She was like, of course, anything to make it work. So I was really fortunate. But now that Travis is in the picture and, you know,
he can handle mornings.
Well, he's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it takes a lot to have to get them out the door in the morning, to get her out the door in the morning, and for him to make it to work on time. So I'm very lucky to have just incredible people in my life.
Yeah, I think that roles have changed so much too for working moms. Like my mom and I have this conversation a lot because she was divorced also, and so we grew up with, you know, same thing. Like I'm used to the juggling, I feel like that's kind of how it was. We were here or there with aunts and uncles and all that stuff, so we were really lucky. But I do think the role of like husbands has changed so much too. I think not only is it like just expected, but I do think that men are changing. And I think like I can even hear like when my husband's talking like with his friends, like it's not so much like, okay, the mom just has to like do it all. They're stepping up and it's just a whole different experience.
100%.
Like, and I love it. And I think it is that like we as women are doing more outside of the home. And so like we have to have that help. Like it really is just like right before you came in, we were literally going through our schedule for today. We're like, okay, we have this doctor's appointment. We have this, like, are we good? You know, it's like, it's a meeting. Like, it's like, we have to have those business meetings. We're like, okay, let's go over this, you know, but like having that partner is everything. That changes so much.
We have he bought us this shared calendar.
Yes.
That we put.
Yeah.
And I am not.
Wait, is it a digital one?
Yes.
Is it the skylight? Yes, same. Yeah, we started this
What's
too.
hilarious about it is I don't put anything in that calendar because that's just not my style.
Wow, this is exactly how we're doing the same thing right now.
And so my husband will be like, what, you know, I'll say, we've got this thing coming up this weekend. He's like, is it in the calendar? And I'm like, no, it's not in the calendar. I'm never using that stupid calendar.
I know. And like, I don't know if it's that like I have to write it down, if it's like the digital part of this that I don't understand or whatever. Like we were going really strong for like a month. And then it just like dropped off the
I'm
face.
like, if you want to, just talk to me.
Yes.
Like, we can just have a conversation. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
But it is, I think you're right. To your point about guys just stepping up. I mean, Travis is just an incredible father to Robbie, and he's an incredible stepfather to my boys. Yeah. And it's like, I couldn't work if with 3 kids. Yeah. There's no way I could work and make it happen if I didn't have a helpful spouse. I mean, that's just part of it. You know, and he works hard too. So we're both just kind of, sometimes during the week, it's like we're just like passing the football. You know, who's going to pick up, who's going to get the kids here. We've got basketball and baseball practice tonight. How are we going to get the kids? It's logistics. You know what I mean?
It is, but it's so much more. I mean, my husband and I say like it's just a team at this point. Like we are such a team, and we're just like working together on this. Where I think, even though like Will's only 8, I even think like 8 years ago it was different. And I think like there's just this change that's, you know, that's coming and that's happening. And I think it's less like, I think for a while it was almost like emasculating for men to like be that dad. Like I think I saw it a lot of like my friends, like, you know, and talking, you know, with their husbands and like whose responsibility was what. And I know that every relationship is different, and I think everyone just kind of has to find their thing. But I think for a lot of us that are working and juggling a lot, like it had to change to where it was like so accepting for them to be the ones. I tell my husband all the time, I love it when I go pick up my daughter and there's so many dads in the pickup line. Like is something I've noticed a change in. You know, I think it was so feminine for so long to do that. And now I'm like, look at these dads. And I think it's just going to change the generation that we're raising. And I love that my son sees that and your sons are seeing that. I mean, I think it's going to change like literally going to change the world.
Because I was raised by, my mom stayed home most of my childhood. She had jobs here and there, but my dad was the main provider.
Right.
My mom stayed home. And my mom was president of the PTA, and she was always at school, and she was, volunteering. She was teaching aerobics, volunteering at the school, volunteering for various things. So it was amazing to have that in my life, honestly, because I didn't want her to work. I loved it.
Right.
And so I try to find a balance. I'm the room mom for Owen's class. I'll be the room mom for Hatcher's class next year. So I try to still be involved as much. I'm going on a field trip with Owen on Wednesday, and I'm able to do that because my work hours, the bulk of my job is when nobody is awake.
Right.
Which is perfect. Or they're awake, hopefully, but still at home drinking their coffee and watching us.
Yes.
Hopefully they're awake. But, it's like the majority of, the bulk of my day is finished at 9. And then I have other things like, volunteer stuff. Like I have a lunch with Habitat for Humanity after this. Or I've got a story I'm working on, so I'm going to do interviews for that. It just depends on the day. But it's nice to be able to have the flexibility at work so you can be a mom.
Right. Yeah. And I think you kind of have to make that happen. I think that you kind of have to make decisions in your career path that are this is what I can do. It's like setting boundaries at this point of yes, I can do this and I can take this on. But like you said, you had a mom that was present and you want to be present. It's not like we're just okay, bye. If somebody else is going to raise you, that's not what I want at all. I want to be able, to do exactly what you're doing, going on the field trips and stuff. And I think that exists. I heard somebody say recently that there's never going to be balance. It's just going to be different days when you're able to do the things that you want to do. There's never going to be a perfect, I'm the mom 24/7 and I have this career 24/7 and I have this. It's the pieces are going to move at times, where your job's going to need a little bit more of your attention. But then there's going to be times that you get to do all the things that you're doing. And I think it's just scheduling and setting those boundaries.
Yeah.
But that does exist. And I think encouraging people to find that, is something that I'm so passionate about because I think, like I said, it exists and we can do it. But it does take just a village, and it takes, the role's changing a little bit.
Yeah. And it's just
help.
like you said, just a constant balancing act.
Yeah, definitely. So, you have a passion for the beauty industry.
Yes.
So you actually do makeup tutorials. And so I know you all can follow Abby at Abby Hamm on Instagram. And we'll put the link in the down below if you're listening on the podcast, or it'll be tagged if you're watching on video. But so tell me a little bit about how you started doing makeup tutorials and how, when did this start and what kind of motivated you to do this?
Okay, so we talk about parental influence in this interview quite often. We already have 3 times, but my mom was always into makeup. I mean, you should have seen her, and I'll never forget one picture that stands out in my mind. It was Olin Mills. Do you remember?
Yes, of course. That was the best.
Yeah, it's my mom holding me. I'm just a baby, and her hair is so 80s. She has the headband in. She's got the cute workout top, and she's just fabulous 80s lady.
Love.
And so growing up, I always saw my mom get dressed up wherever she went. I mean, she's a typical Southern lady.
Yes.
Always had to be ready when we went anywhere. And so I grew up just watching her do her makeup, and then I would play in her makeup, and then I started doing my makeup. I just always loved it. So, I probably have been through phases of wearing too much, or, I mean, you look at some of my pictures, I'm like, why did I wear that lipstick shade? But over the years, I've just really perfected it, I think. And we've learned a lot. I was already good at makeup in my eyes. I already knew what I was doing at a young age. But when you get into this business, you're coached. You go to different makeup artists, and they teach you how to do it, and they teach you what colors work and how to do this and that. I've taught myself a lot, honestly. But over the years, we've had consultants and makeup artists and hairstylists, give us tips on our appearance, to achieve our best look for camera. So I've been trained loosely, but I've also just I'll see a makeup video that I'm like, ooh, I want to learn to contour. And then I'm like, I learned it. And then, it's kind of fairly easy to learn a lot of little tips and tricks right now on Instagram because there's makeup tutorials everywhere. If you follow one influencer, you probably get dosed with it at least 6 times a week. If you follow multiple influencers, which most people do, it's in your feed every day. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I've just always had a passion for it. I love it. I love trying new makeup and new things. People will always ask me, what's your number one makeup item? And I'm like, well, I'll tell you this month, it's this. But next month, it's going to change because I always like to try new things.
Have you ever tried anything that you're like, oh, that didn't work? Was there anything? I messed up my brows pretty bad at one point trying some trend that I saw.
Well, my brows have been, they've been through interesting phases. Okay. I have hair there, but it's blonde. So my brows are really what I make them.
Yes, like you have to create them every day. You have to make
and you know,
them.
like the thinner, like Gwen Stefani from the 90s brows, I had those. I had them be too bushy and too dark. I had them be too pointy in the inside, and it's just like it's an ever-changing process.
Yes.
My brows have changed probably the most of anything.
Yeah.
But it's just what it is. But I've learned how. But I'm always changing them. Like a couple weeks ago, I had this brow pencil, and I was like, ooh, I think that's too dark. I'm gonna lighten them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like literally week by week, I'm changing stuff.
Yeah. And so are you filming any of that stuff, like trying, like what can we see? What kind of makeup tutorials are you doing? Are you doing like day to night? Are you doing like, what was my last one? Doing?
My last one was a few months ago. I need to do another one. Actually, I just got a message today saying, where are your makeup tutorials? I'm like, I need to do them. But I did contouring.
Okay.
And then a light, fresh foundation look. Like I didn't do eyes. What was my first one? Oh, I did a lip trick.
Yeah.
I did lips, and then I did contouring, and then I did just like a fresh face foundation because I don't like too cakey of makeup.
Were you nervous at all jumping into this? Like when you filmed your first one, were you like, I'm not going to post this? Were you like, I'm scared to post it? Were you like waiting to see if people liked it? Or were you pretty confident? Because you're on screen a lot. So you're on camera. I guess that part isn't as intimidating.
It's not, you know, and I just kind of like, you just throw stuff out there sometimes to see what sticks, right? I mean, sometimes people aren't going to receive it well, and that's okay. I'll just move on and we won't do more in the future. But the makeup tutorials are something I love. I'm passionate about. It's just fun. Mm-hmm. But they came from viewers. People would message me and be like, how do you do this? What's your lip technique? I get lip a lot. The lip colors, it's the number. And I always laugh because I'm like, well, it's like 8 things blended together. So forgive me for like the 8 product list on my lips. But if you just had to pick 2 items, I'd get this and this.
Yeah.
But I think that it's just it was just kind of a fun thing, like a creative outlet for me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, normally it's news headlines and it's kind of dark and it can be heavy and sad. And so I wanted something just to lighten up my feed or lighten up my day.
Yeah. That's so awesome that you found that in this industry, because I think that is something that like a lot of people that are in this industry, they feed off of that it's you get to help and you get to make a difference and you get to just, this community is different. And I love that you're a part of it. Like, I think it's so cool that you're jumping into this because like you said, like people look at you all the time. Like it's you, even though they're listening for news. I mean, they're looking at you and they get connected with you. So being able to like have that, I think is so fun. And I think that outlet's really cool. I think that one of the things that people I'm sure are like looking to also is like, we're all getting older. So like the other crazy thing is like we have these girls, it's funny, like when I go into high schools to speak to the cosmetology classes, I'll go in and I'm like, these girls are so pretty. Like they run, I know there's like that meme that's like they got to skip like the ugly like foundation not matching.
I know.
Like,
and what is that? I mean, like I had this weird makeup and hairdo, honestly. Do you remember when you used to do like the twist? This is in the 90s. The twist back with the little butterfly clips.
It's happening again everywhere. It's wild. It's wild.
I won't be doing that trend again. Too old for that. But I did do it in the 90s. I turn on
the news and someday I'm like, oh no, Abby lost it. She has butterfly clips in. That's when we know the breakdown's coming.
And like a dark, moody lipstick.
Oh my gosh,
like
it's wild.
Drew Barrymore circa, what was the show shoot? Mad Love. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, yes.
She had the blonde kind of spiky hair and the dark lipstick. She was my
liner being like so dark too. Yeah. Like I know. And that was like my favorite, and it is coming back. And like I remember like when Clueless came out, being like, oh my gosh, but we didn't have this. Like we had our like, for me, it was like my older cousins being like, I was playing with their makeup. Like I didn't have anybody saying, hey, this is how you contour, this is how you whatever. Like I didn't learn that till literally I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I think as we're all getting older, having babies, being moms, like I never have like fallen into the like, I'm a mom, so I just am gonna be done trying. I'm like, no, I'm trying harder now.
Yeah.
And I'm doing more to make sure that I'm looking good, like as much as I can.
It
more
becomes
now.
harder.
Yes, exactly. And so I'm sure that that's like it too, is like we're all, I mean, my friends and I are always talking about like different tricks. And I know that we both see Brooke next. And so we both get our Botox done there. And wait, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Skincare is also really important.
Yes.
And a lot of people ask me about that as well. So I think it's important to have a good medical grade skincare that you use. Like there's one serum that I absolutely swear by. And if I got nothing else, it would be that. So I think it's important to find those products for yourself.
Yeah. And we're all just helping each other out. I think that's the other, like, the good part about the mom community is we're all just like helping each other out.
We're all just trying to thrive, right?
Exactly.
Trying to keep our youth too, which gets progressively harder as well.
Yes. So if you were not a news anchor, do you think had like YouTube and Instagram in this industry? Because I always say, and I was in it, I mean, I watched the boom happen. Like I've been at Tennessee School BD for 10 years now. So I watched the change happen, and so much of it was Kylie Jenner. So much of it was the lip kit. And then all of these tutorials came from that. And so I watched this boom happen. Do you think, had you been, at 18 years old at that time, do you think that this is the industry that you would have gone in? Or do you think that journalism still would have been the passion?
Yes, such a good question. People ask me sometimes, what would you be if you weren't a news anchor? I've been a news anchor for so long that it's hard to even think about. But I think the beauty industry, I love interior design too. If I would have gone down different creative rabbit holes when I was in college, I might have explored more.
Yeah.
But my grandfather was a writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Whoa.
And so I think I always really, he was passed away when I was born, but I always kind of just like his memory was like through that, my dad's dad. And so I just had this sort of passion for writing and passion for journalism.
Yeah.
I wanted to write for fashion magazines, as I said. So maybe it would have taken me in a beauty direction. And I always loved makeup. But when I was exploring careers, beauty wasn't as big as it is now.
Right.
Like if now I were 18, I probably would have picked it in a heartbeat. I love it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been like doing something like TV and beauty, trying to combine it or something. It would be cool.
It's not too late. We can.
Okay. Let's do it.
I'm just gonna steal you with us, and we're gonna do this. No, it is. It's funny how there just is that. It's such a creative outlet, and so like everything, you're clearly such a creative person. Like to even be drawn to like the interior design and all of that. It's really cool that you found your outlets, but you do have time outside of this that you get to kind of explore those things, and I think it's really cool that you still do that. And I think it's a really good message to send to keep following your passions, to keep following those hobbies that you find, even if it's not your main career, keep doing that, because I think you have to have that outlet. It has to come out like somewhere. So.
I totally agree. Yeah. The weight of the world can sometimes weigh heavily on your shoulders in your real job or at home or, people dealing with hardships all the time. So it's nice to have something that brings you joy.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Happy.
And maybe we will steal her. I'm looking at Rob in the back. I'm like, can we get her? But hopefully we'll see more of you and more of those tutorials. You've got to do another one for sure. And make sure you guys are following Abby. It's at Abby Hamm on Instagram. Make sure that you follow us at Beauty and Style Network. Follow me at Beauty School Bobbi. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, leave that 5-star review, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye.